We've got an upset alert in our In the Trenches bracket where our fans decide who has the best defense in the NFL. In the final matchup of our first round, the Seattle Seahawks took on the Houston Texans. Texans fans, what happened? The Seahawks move on to the second round in an upset. They'll face the San Francisco 49ers in the semifinals. But today's semifinal matchup is the Baltimore Ravens against the Pittsburgh Steelers in an AFC North battle. We're going to go in the trenches where senior editors Eric Edholm and Mike Wilkening hash out the argument.
All right, Mike, we're debating which team has the better defense. Two teams you know very well, and we had to give you one of them. We're going to give you the Steelers. Tell me why they're better than the Baltimore Ravens on defense.
I just think that there isn't a lot separating these defenses, but unfortunately for Baltimore, they suffered a terrible injury in the offseason. They're losing Terrell Suggs, and I think that that's the difference here in this matchup. How do you overcome that loss of Suggs? Suggs has been so good the last 2 years, and really it's the trickle-down effect because now Paul Kruger's not a role guy anymore. He's a starter. Same thing with Courtney Upshaw. I look at Pittsburgh. They're the whole more complete unit at this point.
Yeah, I think that the Baltimore Ravens might be one of the few teams that are prepared for a loss like Terrell Suggs. A lot of teams couldn't withstand that. And Suggs says, hey, I'm going to be back. So I believe him. I take this kid at his word. He's always lived up to his promise. You got guys like Kruger. You know, maybe Upshaw can do something. Heck, Sergio Kindle might come out of nowhere. A dominant four players, three if you take Suggs out of the equation. Nada up front. You've got Ray Lewis. Has basically been a defensive coordinator. Forget Dean Pease. This guy's been the coordinator for 17 years on the field. And Ed Reed in the back end. Whereas I look at the Steelers and I see age. You talk about the Ravens' age, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, et cetera, et cetera. I really think the Steelers collectively, Ike Taylor, Harrison, Polamalu, Clark, all these guys are plus 30, and I just wonder whether they've got enough players in their 20s to help them out.
Age is a concern for that defense. I think anybody looking at that would say that'd be the case, but this is still a group that gets it done. Lawrence Timmons, Lamar Woodley are guys in the prime of their career. The age of the Pittsburgh defense always comes up as a weakness, and as long as I've been covering them, that's been something that gets brought up. They looked very old at the beginning of last year when Baltimore beat them, and next week they shut out Seattle with all of these over 30 players. Ike Taylor, still an effective player. Troy Polamalu, in my view, still the best safety in the game. Harrison, still a very good pass rusher. And when you look at Harrison, you look at Lamar Woodley off the edges, these are guys that didn't play complete seasons last year, still combined for 18 sacks in 21 games. You know they're not going to make a lot of mistakes, and you know they're going to carry out Dick LeBeau's defense the way he wants it, which means soundly and getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
And you mentioned LeBeau. Obviously, there's a huge difference between what LeBeau has accomplished in his career and what Dean Pease has done so far. And, I will point out the fact, though, that they've had 4 different defensive coordinators in Harbaugh's 5 years. They've managed to make it work. They've done a great job, not only with personnel turnover, but also coaching turnover as well. So they got that going for them. And the one final point I will make about that pass rush and some of the big plays, the Steelers just didn't have them last year. Yeah. Turnovers forced, last in the league. I think people would be stunned to find that out. So to me, I look at the Steelers' age, having some playmakers have the teeth taken out of them a little bit. And Mike, I think about the Steelers, and even though they did rank first in points allowed and yards allowed, the Ravens were right behind them in most of those categories, better in the red zone. Well, they're veteran defenses. They've got a lot of talent, a lot of different positions. They play each other twice a year, sometimes 3. We'll find out in 2012 which one's better.
So who moves on to the championship, the Baltimore Ravens or the Pittsburgh Steelers? Fans, that's for you to decide, and I have a feeling this one's going to be a close one. Be sure to cast your vote in the comments section of our YouTube channel, or send us your vote via Twitter, or participate in the poll at facebook.com/profootballweekly or at profootballweekly.com.